every single website. You get in, you enter your phone number, they give you 20% off discount. For sites that do not offer that, they probably see a crazy conversion drop.
We just got tens of millions of dollars of marketing budget to just quickly grow. And we honestly flooded the market back then.
Always know the trick, right? Raise the product price a little bit right before Black Friday and make users feel they get all the benefits. Hi everyone, welcome back to Beyond Algorithms. This is Frost.
Hi everyone, this is Jun. Welcome back to our show. Today we want to talk a little bit about promotional offerings. Since as consumers ourselves, we receive all kinds of promotional offers in emails in the store. And we think there is quite a bit of interesting things happening in this space. Frost, you were talking about Amazon and Audible. Do you want to talk a little bit more about your experience as a consumer?
Yeah, it is super interesting. So I love reading books and I love audiobooks, but Audible is a little bit expensive. And sometimes I cannot really use all its credits. Whenever I cancel my $15.99 monthly subscription, it's almost guaranteed. After 3 to 4 weeks, you say, Frost, would you like to come back for $7.50 or $7.99? And then I haven't finished all my audiobooks yet. I didn't resurrect. For about 60 to 90 days, I know by definition, that's when you mark a user as dormant or churned user instead of active user. I will always get this 99 cents per month promotion and I'll reactivate. June, I'm so sorry, but I've been doing this for at least 3 times. And every time on the 3rd month, I just cancel again because again, I don't have all this time to finish all my audiobooks. So I was just always thinking, is Amazon really making money from customers like me for 99 cents per month and have to pay all these copyright fees to others? How do they evaluate this entire program success?
It's so funny, and I can almost immediately tell you that how they make money on me. Like I have very similar experience. Like I'm on and off paying monthly, and get the same promotional offer, and I sign up. In my case, I just forgot to cancel. So I really admire your discipline. Like at exactly the spot of 3 months, and you cancel it, you take full advantage of promotion, you wait for the next one, and that's probably part of their calculation. There will be people who are sloppy in cancel. There will be people who actually like the books they got. And then for me, one of the reasons for me to beyond just not just sticking to the promotion maximization principle, one of the hindrance was like in order for me to cancel, I need to like use up all the credits. Otherwise, is yours use or lose if you're no longer a member. And in my case, I had a lot of backlog already. If I buy more books, it's just adding up to the backlog. I'm more sort of waiting for the right moment when I sort of discover a new area that I want to explore. Then I'll use all the accumulated credit to buy all at the same time. Sometimes there's 7 or 8 or 10 books at a time, and then I can even buy the promotion offer. So I'm sort of accumulating to wait for the right moment. And again, I think that you and I are sort of representing the different kind of customer behavior from a promotional design perspective. As long as there is a healthy percentage of people who stay on a little bit longer than the promotional offer itself, is probably fine. Oh, and then 2 more comments. One is I think for this type of digital content, the copyright fees, authors are not paid very well these days, and then the copyright fees on the per order level, I can't imagine is that big. So it's probably still like the marginal cost per additional sale of an audiobook is probably like low enough that they don't necessarily care that much if they're losing a little bit on the promotional offer. 2 is, and then we can probably talk more about that, is the corporate strategy side, right? Are they trying to show to their investor or to their corporate, if it is Audible, to their mothership, growth or profitability or user engagement, depending on the time or the year, the macro environment? The corporate mandate may be different. And maybe in the past few years, they're just trying to show growth. So it doesn't really matter whether each user is as profitable as they can be, as long as they show people are still coming back, it makes sense to them.
Yeah, so it comes to an interesting part. You were saying they potentially are still profitable because users are too lazy or they just get on the hook to cancel. And it's actually really interesting. The reason I cancel is because they always send me an email reminding me I'm about to pay 15 times more. And that's when I cancel. So they actually, I'm not sure, is it because they got legal trouble before, they just want to make it super easy to just show that. So
Yeah, I
also
think
another
I give them
interesting
credit
part.
for it. I think I
Yeah.
give them credit. I don't know if it is like legal requirement, but like this is good customer experience. And I
Yes.
think a lot of subscription business, they're like sneaky and shady about it. Like you didn't know you pay for it for years until we charge you. I think Amazon deserves some credit for doing it in a fully transparent way.
Absolutely. And secondly, you talk about very interesting part for corporate strategy. Have we seen like other practices like that in big companies that they just want to actually burn money but maintain big enough user base that they can either squeeze their competitors out or to show the dominance in the market?
That's almost, well, I guess nowadays things change a little bit, but that's almost standard, like VC-backed, consumer-oriented app, the standard playbook early on, right? You raise a lot of money, you buy a lot of user at the loss, but you quickly establish your market dominance, especially in like what will come to mind is like Uber, Lyft in the early days. I still remember like the $1 rise I've had like locally. That went on for like, I don't know, probably more than a year or several years. I enjoy that they're using the venture funding to sort of hopefully reach monopoly as quickly as possible. Don't really mind if they're losing money as long as they develop the user habit. In this case, it's a new user habit. And I think some of the grocery delivery services, the same thing too. They don't necessarily mind. And also it reminded me like earlier in my career at Google, we were launching another consumer finance app called Google Checkout, and basically a payment system. And nowadays it's Android Pay or Google Pay. But in a very, very early stage of that, this is like 2006 and 7-ish time, we just got tens of millions of dollars of marketing budget to just quickly grow. And we honestly flooded the market back then of like $10 off 20 purchases of any of the merchant who is willing and interested in signing up to be a Google Checkout provider, or $10 off 20, I think $20 off 50, off 50. So it's like very significant percentage of discount to sort of buy the market. And at that time, the goal was trying to beat PayPal. A lot of stories we can tell in that, but I think that's a general sort of corporate strategy when they're optimizing for growth. Another one that I've experienced in the past when I work in banking is the credit card offers, as people sort of often see from their mail. If you observe the last 10 to 20 years of macro sort of credit card trends or regulations, like we used to have like crazy credit card offers, like balance transfer, 0% balance transfer for multiple years for life. I even had like 0% balance transfer for life as long as you sign up for a new card or something.
Well, June, I wanted that card too. I knew it's too late.
So yeah, no, but see, now the corporate strategy of credit card companies changed. So I think they are more squeezed to actually find more fees or like profitability in this day and age, or cash flow is a lot more important than growth or growth at all costs. I think that's probably the reason why I feel like if I were the head of the Audible marketing director, he or she is probably thinking, maybe next quarter Wall Street having a different reaction and corporate have a different mandate, then we may not see this 99 cents offer as frequently as we've seen in the past few years.
So that comes to an interesting factor is how do we measure the success, right? Other than for big companies thinking about Wall Street or earnings call, as a normal brand, maybe we don't have earnings calls, right? And also we don't really have unlimited amount of cash to boost that forever. But at the same time, we have to offer something that's similar to our competition, right? It cannot be all our competitors give the first delivery for free and I'm charging something. Then no one's going to use me or even like to try me out. So how do we build an analytical model to track it? I think it's extremely interesting. How about we talk about something that is a little bit more like you actually buy goods, like when you buy things, and we now see every single website you get in, you enter your phone number, they give you 20% off discount.
Yeah.
For sites that do not offer that, they probably see a crazy conversion drop. And how do they measure the success of that? In June, to your point, for Google, it's too much engineering cost to capture user gaming. But if I'm just selling some facial cream, I probably don't want everyone to have like 10 different email addresses and buy everything at 20% off at all times, right? So what are the common strategies you have seen when people deal with both the effectiveness and also anti-user gaming?
Anti-user gaming. So I do recognize there is a big difference between physical goods and software. Like the marginal cost of selling additional piece of software is virtually zero. So we have some room to sort of be creative. I want to first actually tell a story on Google Checkout. There is actually like news article I can find later to that actually sort of explain this in more details. This is like when we launch the new payment system, it's you need to provide your banking information, and we need to validate people's bank accounts being real and everything. And then one of the ways back then, I think today even there are like similar practices, is we'll do a trial deposit, a couple of cents or less than $1 of a deposit into your accounts as basically a de facto password, and you log on to our system once you see that deposit, like how many cents, and then we can validate your bank account belong to you, and then we can move on to everything else. This is the Google's practice back then. And then one smart guy figured this out, and then figured that we only use for verification of the bank account, but we don't really necessarily care about anything else, because the corporate strategy back then was to sort of grow as much as possible. This person set up like virtual servers and the scripts that basically keep creating new accounts under fake names, but all point to the same bank account. And then Google just paying them 25 cents, average 50 cents, right? A random number between $0 and $1. Like basically on average 50 cents per account for thousands of accounts at a time. And this guy just had so much fun that he automated everything, even created like a debit card to sort of use this as his vault, so he can just withdraw money, because every day multiple thousands of accounts is getting created anew. And then Google paid them another $1,000 almost on a daily basis. And we found this out actually fairly early on, but we almost sort of decided this, like as we're launching a new product, this is not worth the effort. We'll let this one go until it becomes a bigger problem, because engineering resources in almost any technology company is very, very expensive, and then the product roadmap is very aggressive. We have a lot of bigger fish to fry. And the end of that story is one of our operations leaders actually raised, I think he actually used to work at FBI. And then we actually just escalated the FBI, and the FBI go and then took care of it, and that's what made news. I can even find a news article. This is like 2008 on this. So with that, I want to sort of make another point to say, like, there are cases where the strategy dictates that it actually may not make sense for you to sort of really trying to eliminate all leakages, breakages, or waste, or people, some healthy amount of people scamming the system. But on the physical goods side, especially if we're a like smaller company who don't have that kind of a resource, who don't have that kind of budget, and then want to make every single dollar count, I think this comes to our title of the show, is beyond algorithms. I think like you can design algorithms to sort of prevent this from happening, or like build product features to sort of block users. But in order to do that well, we have to build the right kind of data infrastructure. We have to collect or even design the system to sort of give us the ability to tell good users from bad. I'm curious, Frost, from your experience, what are the practices or stories you can tell around, like how do we gather the data on these sort of suspicious user behavior? And then are there honest good users that look like a bad user?
Well, June, so number one, I admire the story so much. Initially, it's not worth our efforts because engineers are so focused on the vision. Secondly, you got FBI to tackle this guy. This is really next level user gaming. So the moral story of it is don't do it. So for me, I think for physical goods, it's 100% just a cost analysis and ROI analysis, like what you were saying, right? So if I do not offer this 20% off discount, while all my competitors are doing, my conversion rate of users coming to my site probably drop by 40%. And then if each Facebook click costs let's say like nowadays you do CPG goods, it's probably like at least like $5 to $10. So I immediately lost like $6 per click. Is the 20% off going to cost me that much after my margin and everything? Even if users use that every time, can I just change the product price to be slightly higher and users feel, oh, it's amazing. So we always know the trick, right? Raise the product price a little bit right before Black Friday and make users feel they get all the benefits. So at the end, it's a really just sophisticated data model. I think what comes to AI and all these big data nowadays is you can immediately react on your competitors and your competitions. Because why is it 20%? If you asked me a year ago, I saw everyone offer 10%. There was definitely a race. Oh, I need more customers. I need more purchases. All my competitors are doing 10%. I'm going to do 15%, right? And it just got like more and more like competition out there. And you want to do things that is more timely rather than just having it all the time, right? So ideally, you move your inventory, you make your money while not hurting your overall brand perception, because that's something we cannot A/B test. Jill, I want to talk about this a little bit more because it's something you cannot A/B test and just like, okay, this 40% drop versus like $10 Facebook cost, right? If people think your brand is always cheap, always at discount, then they'll never buy your brand at like the nominal value. And it's a huge, huge loss for the long run. So that's like something brands have to be really careful about. And I'm curious, like June, have you heard about some examples like brands kind of like overused these promotions and ended up getting like a long-term loss that way?
I don't have specific example come to mind, but I'll go back to the earlier like Uber example. I think it eventually worked out, but like again, like for probably like over a year's time, my average Uber rides locally around my town is like $2 with all the subsidies and everything else going on, monthly credit or whatever else is going on back then. That was sort of the value I put on the service. So when they slowly but surely raise the price, I'm definitely using that less and less and less. I think that's just a calculation that every organizations have to do for themselves. Is it worth it to have sort of the user stickiness? I think in Uber and Lyft's both cases, it's well justified because they were trying to sort of develop a new kind of a user behavior. Like I used to have like when I used to go to the airport from where I live, we have like the shuttle services and the vans or like dedicated companies who do airport shuttles. And then I think that whole industry getting killed because now my user habit has shifted. So although now I'm an infrequent user of the service, and then I don't like the high price tags, that was not the brand image sold to me, but I found this new thing. So it makes sense. Another one is delivery service. I think in COVID, a lot of the delivery services sort of started or get really high level of tractions, and then later on they run promotions and keep their price competitive. And nowadays, I think we're reaching the tail end of that competitiveness, and price is getting back to a little bit more covering the costs. The VCs are becoming impatient, but the consumer behavior is changed. So nowadays, I go less to the grocery stores and rely a little bit more on delivery services, grocery deliveries and food deliveries. And I think those are justified.
Yeah, I would say those are successful cases. They
really?
successfully change your behavior by offering really high discount and you stick to it.
Did you have stories that didn't really work out?
It's actually really interesting. There's a very high-end gym near my neighborhood called True Fusion. So each class is $35. They recently sent out the email saying they are closing down. And they told us exactly why. They cannot break even anymore because too many people use the first free class by signing up using different emails and using different phone numbers. And that just cheapened the entire value because the entire thing is about this is a premium yoga studio. You are paying $35. Everyone there, like they have like really premium service and everything. When people just keep gaming it, it's not only the money they lost on those classes, but also those people usually, they don't, they're like different from the regulars. Right? So when people go, they don't feel, oh, it's actually where like all these yoga lovers go, right? You see all these folks who sometimes they don't even move during the class, funny enough, because they don't
got it for
care.
free.
Yeah, they don't care. And then that just like, okay, I don't want to go to class when there are like just people who are just like standing there, right? Like it doesn't feel the same. And they closed down, which is crazy because they are at one of the, I would say, best neighborhood to offer premium service that 1 block away from Salesforce Tower. And I think they got killed by their own promotions in this particular case.
I would make a slightly different counter argument, I suppose. I think it's manageable, and that's hopefully the sort of lesson is probably too strong of a word, but like the insight for today. Like for you to run this type of promotion, it is critical for you to design it well in the beginning with these type of user behavior in mind, and more importantly and critically, gather the right kind of data so that you can act upon it. Like for a gym, for example, if you rely on phone number and email addresses to sign up to offer for the first class for free, then you cannot really avoid a lot of the fake accounts being created. But if you gather the address, and if you have ability to check the address, or if you have some other sort of means, because as a physical service, it's not like purely online. In the Google checkout case, the guy who create fake account is like purely fake names, like Mickey Mouse and like all kinds of crazy names, because large language model was not available back then. He ran out of ideas. But purely virtual, there's a lot of room for people to sort of scam the system. If it is physical system or physical service, you can actually check whether they are they're signing up for a second or third account. I think that is also some things you can design in the very beginning as you run the promotion to prevent this from happening. This actually reminded me something like I used to volunteer in San Francisco, this nonprofit who provides shelter and services for homeless. And then it was a big debate on like whether we want to check identities, and eventually the upshot is like we don't, because we don't want to make people hesitate and make people ashamed or for whatever reasons. But then that is a strategic decision to sort of basically eat the I don't know what we call, like leakage or breakage of people sort of trying to scam the system, and accept that as part of doing the business by sort of optimizing for people who truly need the service. And I think that the gym probably just went a little bit too idealistic, and then did not put all these things in place. And then I also recognize for a gym, they probably did not have the budget or the people to sort of design, I don't know, databases or gather those data to do deduplication, to do visualization, and then act upon it. But I think that's why these days, no matter what kind of product you're building, it is still critically important for you to think about the data, the product, the AI on both ends, both as like how do we grow and how other people can use AI to sort of make our lives a little bit harder.
Yeah, absolutely. I would say they probably never ran an A/B experiment to see what is the best way to get new customers.
Absolutely.
They probably never even know what's the conversion rate of a free class to people become full members. And they only knew it was a scam potential just by the front desk people notice the same person coming in for a free class all the time, and they just remember it. But that memory can also be over counting, because bad memories last longer. So you think it happens a lot because one person did a lot, but at the end you only lost one person's membership, and that's only 200 something. That cannot be the only reason why it doesn't work out. So at the end, data is king. But I think we can potentially, for this episode, what's the take away? Because June, you mentioned a very important point. If you're a smaller company or smaller brand, you may not be able to afford a data science or business intelligence team. That's just too fancy. How do you just use some like most basic ways to evaluate the promotions and the effectiveness to ensure it is sustainable for the business and actually it's beneficial for the business in the long run?
Great question. Yeah, I think a team is probably a luxury for any organization. I wouldn't even say you need one data scientist or one analyst, but I think in the jobs to be done fashion, like the jobs still need to be done. Like it is, we need to find out how users can potentially game the system, and we need to find out how much of this is happening. And that job may be I don't know, 10% of the time that one of the, I don't know, founders or one of the marketing directors spend to actually do this. These days, you don't even necessarily need to have like crazy Excel spreadsheet skills or Tableau skills to build all these. Whoever builds the system to start with, maybe it's that person's job to sort of spend an extra 10% of their time to actually build some data gathering mechanisms. And I think the more actionable advice I would say is, before you design any promotions, offers, programs, take a step back and carefully design both the program offer, ideally A/B testing, ideally you also worry about sample sizes, but more importantly, how do we gather the data? How do we make sure that we know it worked or not working? Like as you mentioned, right? The conversion rate, the drop-offs, this click or this 20% off promotion is going to give us that much of a lifetime value. Those sounds like fancy, concepts for earlier stage smaller companies. But I think in a lot of cases, it's actually how you differentiate and compete against your competitors.
Very well said, Jun. Actually, I think that's still some skill people need to learn, and maybe we can drill down a little bit more about that in the future. For me, if you are not sure how to do it, I would say try to outsource it. There are a lot of solutions everywhere, and try to find something that's more AI powered, so you don't have to hire like a full-time person that bill you by hour for that. And just do a quick auditing, probably can save you like 20% of the margin. That's how crazy things are nowadays for the promotion war.
I agree. I'll just add one more point there. At least as of now, like first half of 2025, don't trust AI to be your business analyst. Like it can, and it can fool you, but if you don't have people who know what they're doing, looking after it, you won't even know what are the issues behind it. So AI powered, completely agree. Outsource to AI, I'll be very, very reserved in doing that.
Yeah, no, thank you for clarifying it. I didn't mean to dump your business financial spreadsheet into any AI tool and just ask it to do everything for you, because number one, please care about your privacy. This is very important. Number two, like what Jun just said, you need someone who actually has the AI expertise and marketing expertise at the same time to read the entire situation for you. Very cool. So before we end this episode, we have some very exciting news to share. We are going to start having guests in our show. So you are not only going to hear from Jun and I, but more experts. So in the next episode, we are going to have Robbie, who used to run AppTentive, who helped IHG, All Recipes, Offerstock, Nordstrom, on these 3 big companies to run their retention marketing. So you can hear a completely different perspective from today. It's not only about promotion, but about customer satisfaction. Of course, if you are interested in giving us any feedback or even be our guest, we would love to. Please find me at @Frost. It is just @Frost on Twitter. And Jun?
Wang Jun, my last name, first name together at Twitter, and find us on LinkedIn, or if you want to directly comment on YouTube, Spotify, let us know.
Yeah, we'll respond to every single message as you think. All right, thank you so much, and see you next time.
Bye-bye.